Denis, it's a really privilege to have you here, and a pleasure also.
Thank you.
And I think your film is one of the most fascinating films in the programming of BAFICI this year. And one of the fascinating things is how you have conceived it. I mean, it's a film about animals. You just put animals in front of the camera. And as I have told you before, it looks like a test of Rosage, in the sense that the meaning of the film, it doesn't come from the film, it came from the audience. How do you perceive that?
I always said that most of my films are a game with the audience. And some people don't like when I say that, because you're not supposed to say that you play with an audience. You're supposed to say greater things or more noble things. But I really believe in that interactive game with the viewer. Like, as well, I heard some people say, why your film should consider the audience more. It seems you're making films for yourself. And I totally disagree with that. And Bestia would be the perfect example on how to implicate an audience in a film. Someone told me after watching Bestia, it's not a film about animals. It's a film about the place of the viewer when he's watching a film in a cinema. And I think maybe it sounds a bit pretentious, but Bestiaire is a way to give back the viewer or an audience his chance or his right to be an audience member. There's so many films today that don't consider the audience for anything more than some sort of a group to be entertained. I think that's a bit diminishing for an audience, you know. So Bestiaire is, like you said, maybe that sort of test. And what I like is there's so many different reactions. Some people look at that film and it's a sad film, it's a shocking film, it's a funny film, or it's just a boring film. So there's, because the film is very, very contemplative, and but I really like to see what sort of game we could create with that film and with the audience.
Why do you have chosen to work in the area of animals? You haven't done something like that till now. And of course it's a film which is a big departure from other films about animals.
I wouldn't say choosing the zoo to make a film is accidental. I would just say that the zoo for me seemed like a cinematic place, because the film is not made by an animal lover. It's not a film made to denounce something, or it's not a film about a subject. It's not a traditional film about a zoo. You don't come to see Bestiaire to be informed, but it's still a cinematic place. And so I said, as a joke, I could shoot people in a place like here, and it would be the same kind of experience. But I think we have this special connection with animals, and it's not affecting us, but it implicates us emotionally when we watch animals. If it would be something else than animals, it would be such a cerebral exercise. So I like that I used the animals for emotional purpose. But it's still a very cinematic film about cinematic problematics. So at some point when we talk too much about the animals, I get uncomfortable, because somehow it's not a film about animals.
Well, it's a film which in a way connects us as a species also,
Yes.
and how we measure that in front of those animals.
There's a game of who's watching who in the film. So there's always someone in the audience telling me it's like they are watching us watching them. So I kind of like that mirror effect.
How was the reaction? It's a silly question, but I think politically it might be interesting. How was the reaction of the zoo?
Yeah, well,
And how do you sell the movie to them in order to make a film about a zoo?
well, I never lied to these people, because in the end you asked me this question because the film is a bit dark, is a bit it's not a negative image of the zoo, but it's very, very cold and detached, and the zoo people didn't know if I was trying to denounce them or laugh at them when they saw the film. So of course they wanted to ask me questions, and they wanted to maybe catch me and ask me to do some cuts in the film, but everything was very, very civilized. We had good discussions. In the beginning I said it's not a promotional film. I'm not there to sell your zoo to anybody, and it's a very aesthetical proposition. So they trusted me, and in the end I think it's still a purely aesthetical object, but it seems I'm still trying to have a point of view on anything, and it's dark. On everything, and it's dark. So a lawyer called me and he started asking me questions. What did you want to do? And so the discussion was a bit surreal with him, but in the end he said, okay, I think we will give you permission to distribute that film. So that was a bit funny. They gave me permission. But yeah, I admit that the film is a little darker than I thought. I thought it would be just a walk in a zoo, something a bit more beautiful. But the zoo is dark. The places are dark, and it's cement walls, and everything is gray, and the animals live for 6 months in small compartments. So of course the film is dark, but that was not an intention, honestly.
There is a moment which is maybe the much darker moment in the whole film, which is the moment that you include the taxidermist. Did you conceive that from the beginning, or was something random that happens and you incorporate it?
In the beginning there was no script. So my intention was to show different impressions of animals and humans interconnecting or having some sort of relationship. Who's watching who's the animal in the two. But there was no goal, it was just an exploration. So of course the idea of representation and resurrection was important. So I thought, what is more the idea of resurrection than filming taxidermists working? So it became that the most informative part of the film. It's what does it say? It says that we are obsessed with representing and resurrecting animals, or more than that. It's our obsession to dominate the animals. So you have this short, surreal part where the guy is stuffing a duck, and in the end it's like, oh, a duck.
The duck is again.
But yeah, it's a different chapter in the film, but I really assume it's more informative. It's less ambiguous. It's more information.